Spec-5 World Tour lives up to its name and rolls on to Okayama, Japan for round 4. It's very, very competitive Mazda Championship. We've got another ripping 45-minute race ahead of us in these cars that always race oh so closely, and the drivers are so competitive but typically fair and on their best behavior in this league. David Haynes here with Devin Peters, Michael Derby as producer. Thank you for joining us on HJBC, bringing you live coverage of Spec-5 World Tour. Devin, they're just about to kick off qualifying.
Yeah, they're all sitting in the pits, getting themselves ready at the home of rookie drivers everywhere, Okayama, and a track that has way more names for corners than you'd ever expect it to.
And heaps of British names, because there was a British club that was involved in setting up this racetrack in Japan. So a bunch of corners named after British guys. So that's interesting, but certainly you're damn right. When I joined iRacing in 2014, Rookie Mazdas was here, and I think I did 5-6 races a day, every day for that week. And that was my introduction to this racing circuit that hosted Formula One Grand Prix racing in 94 and 95. F1 has maybe grown out of tracks like this a little bit, but Michael Schumacher for Benetton maintained a 100% winning streak across those 2 years that Formula One visited here. I suspect the Asian financial crisis of the end of the 90s might have put an end to 2 Japanese Grand Prix in a calendar year.
Must have been an awesome time, though. I mean, this would be a neat little circuit around there. Yeah.
Cars of the 90s coming out of Japan before they realized they needed to put their sensible pants on in the 2000s. That's the end of practice for our drivers. Split across 2 classes, Pro and Open. And they're about to get qualifying, where they'll have 15 minutes and 4 laps. You saw this, another track, just sort of underneath 2.5 miles or so. So they get around here pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's always tight at the front of these things. So I'm kind of curious to see once there's no draft what it's going to look like. I'm curious to see if some of the trends we've been seeing this season will continue with some really fast qualifying efforts out of our open class drivers.
The outlap from Joshua Soto at the moment. And it's this corner here, sort of slightly off camber. The hill elevation in the middle of the corner does weird things to your balance as you're trying to get on the throttle early as possible, carry as much speed as possible onto the longest straight of the racetrack. Here has tiny little kink about 3/4 of the way down, and about there is where you need to start getting on your line, thinking about braking for the tightest corner on the track at this hairpin. And then, gosh, it does seem like the track remains relatively tight around the rest of the lap here, with some hairpins still coming up as well.
Yeah, it is really a track of kind of hairpins. If we're honest, it's how well can you do them? I don't know. I've probably put 15,000 laps around this track at this point, and I still don't know if I know the right way out of that corner at Wood Curve, they'd call it. I might call it turn 5, but it's it's a really tricky one, and they're kind of all like that. Watching who's this coming down the front straight? It's Josh Soto coming down the front straight, or coming out of the last turn down the front straight. And we'll see what kind of lap he's able to put in.
28 cars out on track, and if you want to see what kind of laps everyone's putting in, HJBC.live has your live timing for all of our broadcasts, including today, where if there's a particular driver, or a friend, teammate, you want to keep up with how they're going, that's your best bet when they're not on screen as a companion to this broadcast. HJBC.live for live timing. Joshua Soto starts his first flying lap through the turns 1 and 2. Turn 2 also a little off camber through those S's that got opened up a little bit, absolutely flat out. And then this corner again, you never quite know what the right line out of there is. Sometimes it seems like it's a little tighter on the exit because it sort of opens up and off camber, and you can get sucked out wide and lose more time than getting good traction off a tight exit. And it's all looking good for Soto at the moment. Other drivers are out at the moment, and he still has the purple sectors to this point, tracking faster than anyone else for the moment.
Yeah, Camden Hibbett's just gone and stolen the first sector from him, but we'll see if that continues on throughout the lap.
Yeah, correct. Camden Hibbett about a tenth faster in the first sector than Joshua Soto. And then he'll get to the second sector, which for Soto was a 23.754, 23.8 for Hibbett. So they're pretty much level at this point then now.
Yeah, it's going to be a game of inches if qualifying was practice was any indication. Soto comes out that last curve, and we'll see. Longer lap around here. And that's a pretty quick one from him. 45.7 as he crosses the line. That's good enough for first place for now. We'll see if that holds. Would have been one of the faster times we saw in qualifying.
Michael Coates goes to the top off the first of the 4 laps. Camden Hibbett still on a good one, and Ian Giebler was briefly up in a second as the open class pole sitter. Let's see this lap out from Camden Hibbett. Downhill here. You want to get as much as you can out of this final corner. It opens up a little bit on the exit. The track is wider on the pit straight here than the rest of the way around, so it does open up a little bit on the exit of that final corner. To complete the first lap, Camden Hibbett is going to go to the top off that one. Lee Martin's got some good sectors around. This might be one of those qualifying sessions that does throw in a surprise, one of any 10 drivers in the hunt for it all the way to the final lap. Track conditions are relatively warm though, so maybe the tires might start to overheat by that 4th lap.
Yeah, it's definitely a real sprinkling of all those guys in the top 5 of the points, though. I mean, Camden Hibbett's running 4th in the points. Michael Coates, he's 3rd. Josh Soto, he's in 5th. So, all kinds of familiar faces up here at the front, just as you'd expect. But I'm thinking it's a fan favorite, just judging by the turnout.
Okay, how about we throw another couple of names into the mix? Lee Martin going around at the moment. Sectors all look relatively good. Michael Chase, though, has 3 purples. Lee Martin's going to get to the line. And the 149 from open class is going to jump up to what looks like 3rd in class at the moment. Michael Chase is about to finish his lap. It's been all purple sectors all the way from Chase.
As I kind of alluded to earlier, Ian Giebler is out there setting just smoking laps for the open class. Giebler's kind of made a bit of a reputation for himself with those fast laps, but then goes Joel Singleton to the top of the grid, 145.1, saying, "Hold my beer, Ian Giebler."
Hold his Wi-Fi connection as well, potentially. He's up to the top at the moment. Michael Chase went to 2nd. Camden Hibbett sitting 3rd at the moment. A lot of change very quickly in the qualifying order at the moment. Still a lot of green sectors, more time out there on the 3rd flying laps for these drivers. Camden Hibbett soon to come out of these S's, and as you can see on the track map, trigger the first timing interval, which is not purple, not even green, but it's purple for Michael Chase. Joel Singleton's on another really good one. Timon Bramley's just finished a good lap to fractionally miss out on top of the board as he went 2nd.
Singleton must have been doing some of those rookie races you were talking about. He's a bit of a ringer around here. This is impressive stuff.
He is keeping it tidy through these hairpins here, which is key and critical. Track's quite narrow through that part of the lap. Mike Dam has gone to 3rd, starts his 3rd lap, so he's a little back on the program. I think we saw that again at Mosport, where he did the same thing. He went, I'm not going to leave pit lane at the start of the session. I'm going to leave it 2 or 3 minutes and be a little further back.
Singleton crosses the line, blinking away, but doesn't look like he'll set a faster lap that time by. And a bit of a change of pace for these drivers in terms of the feel of the track today with that higher temperature. It's been a couple races in a row with really cold temperatures, tires really sensitive. Will be a little interesting to see, see who prefers the warmer track, the slicker feel to the car.
Bramley seeing out this lap. It's been good in the middle sector for him, which is all of those tight hairpins. So neat enough line, looks quick enough out the final corner. To start though, then his 4th flying lap. So he's got one more and somehow managed to not improve on that when he does. He goes to the top. He goes to the top.
Yeah, 44.8, first guy into the 44s. And that's a pretty impressive mark. That's gonna set some eyebrows up in the air. Expected from Timon, but putting down a little intimidation factor when you got 2 tenths, but 3 tenths between you and the guy in second place.
Mike Dam improves, but only fractionally. He's got one more lap. Joel Singleton in second, outright pole of open class, about to see out his final lap.
Joel's putting in some green sectors, so he might still have a page to write in this story.
I can't see all of Joel's sectors for reasons that I think you can guess. He crosses the line. No improvement there, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say when you hit the brakes before the start-finish line, that's a strong indication that the last sector hasn't gone so good, and that was the case. Michael Chase having a pretty strong little qualifying effort here for him. Currently a little deeper in the points, around 13th place, but gets 4th.
That to him?
Oh.
You should say, how about Camden Hibbett, who's about to cross the line and jump from 5th to 2nd.
Hey. And our young gun comes out and puts in a quick one. So it's going to be with Joel Singleton in there, that'll be a little bit of a different look in the top 5. Who else do we still got on track? This is Mike Dam. Like we said, a little off sequence coming through the final little chicane set here.
In total, about a 10th down, and he's going to practice the pit entry. This lap not improving. It is a weird little pit entry here, actually, as you pull off the track 2 corners before the start-finish line and have to take a narrow line down the inside of the final 2 corners downhill. And then you get a long way down that pit entry before the pit lane speed limit actually comes into play. And there's this effect of drivers pull off the track to the pit entry and begin to brake before the actual start of the speed limit that I often refer to as the Okayama effect because of how strong it is here. You're in what really, really feels like it should be at the pit lane speed limit, but it's not until a good 100 yards, 200 yards further down.
Well, interesting story in here in the open class with Lee Martin having just completed his 4th qualifying lap. He's gone and put in a 46.3, the 3rd consecutive one, but hasn't really managed to put down a fast time by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to be starting deep in the field at 21st place, and he'll be hoping for a little bit of chaos ahead of him to hold on to that lead in the open class points. Who else do we still got running out there?
In lap after 4 completed from Lee Martin. So Ray Lombardi and Eugenio Pellicci, drivers of laps still left out there. Andy Kosick as well, who always seems to leave it to the end of the qualifying session. And I'm not sure what Giebel's doing, having been through the pit lane once. I haven't got the right column up to see if he's got any laps left. New livery for Ray.
It looks like he's counted 4 laps. So his hot qualifying streak will come to an end. But top 3 is nothing to sniff at. And Andy Kosick making sure he gets some good screen time for that minty MX-5 there.
Pellicci will jump up to 10th. Which is a lot closer to where we might have expected him to be. No times from Paulo Coimbra or Andrew Gilliland at this point, though. Mike Dam's 4th lap wasn't an improvement, and he stays there in that spot.
Yeah, did see Coimbra get disconnected a little bit earlier, so he may very well miss this this session. We'll see if he makes it back in time for the race. And Gilliland hasn't even been on track either. Though we did see him in qualifying putting down about 20 laps. I'm sorry, practice putting down about 20 laps. Take 1 week off, and all of a sudden I forget what the names of the sessions are. Jeez. But looks like it's the end of the session. All things considered, I think we got Ian Giebler maybe putzing around out there with a little bit of time. Just think this is practice, though.
And Andy Cossack, I think, is going to take the full in lap and practice that pit entry for the reasons we talked about. Though nothing will change on the grid. It'll be Timon Bramley with the pole position, Camden Hibbett, and then Joel Singleton, open class pole position, denoted by the blue bar under the number board. Mike Dam 4th, Michael Chase 5th, Ronnie Coates 6th, Michael Coates 7th, because you just can't keep those two apart. It's this season, it seems. Rui Coimbra 8th, Trevor Roy 9th, and Eugenia Colici in 10th.
Yeah, and a tight qualifying session. Timon manages to separate himself a little bit at the top, but other than that, it's 5/10 separating, first through 12th place. So the draft should do plenty to keep the field together, as long as the field's willing to cooperate with that. 11th is Josh Soto, 12th Mitchell Peak, 13th Ray Lombardi, 14th Jose Gonzalez, rocking that beautiful gold donor number. Ian Giebler, 15th. Tom Sanders with a slightly less elegant bronze donor number. 17th, Greg Mack. 18th, Jordy Fike. 19th, Brian Chabelsky. And 20th, Gareth Brocklesby. A few more lap times set outside the top 20. 21st is Tom Mathon. 22nd, Lee Martin. 23rd, Zeus Dalston. 24th, Odyssey Adams. 25th, Andy Cossack. 26th, Orlando Herald. And then we got Paulo Coimbra and Andrew Gilliland on the back of the grid. Like we said, we'll see if they take the flag.
Okay. Lining up the grid. Slightly shorter formation lap than I guess we're used to seeing out of these guys, but this might be your only option here at Okayama on the backside of the paddock there. Real wise Ryan Hunter Ray at Nashville pulled up in the red flag underneath the shade or something. That's what the pace car driver's doing.
Yeah, I think the pace car driver has been very strategic about where the grid is set for today.
Yeah, because it's a hot one out there.
Yeah, 103 freedom units on the track surface, 89 in the air, and 11 miles an hour wind, so shouldn't be too big of a factor for these folks out here. Humid day too, jungle-like, I'd say, 81%.
Wind from the northwest, so I think that's... No, I have no idea which way north is here.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you.
I think that makes it a tailwind on the back straight, headwind on the front straight, but I'm not completely sure. So if we recap the open class, Singleton fastest with Gonzalez second and Giebler third, but Singleton starts third on the grid, and Gonzalez and Giebler are 14th and 15th. So a lot of cars at the moment between Singleton at the head of open class and then second and third in that class.
Yeah, the trick with being that far up the field in open is that you've got to, hang with the big boys, and those pro class drivers don't always have time for you, while they are racing pretty hard. So we'll see if he's able to fit in up there and do a little bit better than how the last one went. I think he's only got one other finish so far this season with a relatively modest 44 points to his name. So I'd say it wasn't that the best finish in the world for him, given the pace he's showing today. But maybe he can change that up. 44 points, I think that'd be equivalent to, how about 44? That's right around 21st place.
So like Mid-Ohio, we're getting the extra formation lap here at Okayama, and you saw that the tail of the field was going to be a little disadvantaged by how quick the pace car pulls off, and then the concertina effect all the way back through the field before they get rolling.
Yep, safety first. Don't want to have any unexpected deaths on the first lap. Want to make sure they're all planned out. As I alluded to, the wonderful supporters that make this broadcast possible, make this series possible, can be awarded not only gold, silver, and bronze nameplates, but also additional input into the direction of the series, track selections, that sort of thing. And they're recognized there. And then, of course, we got the red and the blue colors. Red for the pro class, blue for the open class. And the ones with the red numbers and blue numbers, those are your leaders in the points.
Yeah, the supporters get more votes in the track voting and other things like that, and it's very... What, you think money buys you more influence, Devon?
It's the most direct democracy I've ever seen. At least there's no, no one's BSing anyone here.
yeah, it's all out in the open.
Yeah.
So, Gilliland pit lane start. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I didn't set a qualifying time. Actually, I should go double check the penalties and see if there's any others on the deck. And it looks like penalties. We've got Andrew Gilliland and Tim Wire who have earned a penalty, but only Andrew's here to serve it today. And it sounds like it was the result of a couple of first lap indiscretions. So starting from the pit, make sure there won't be any of those.
Almost back around to where they all started, on the back of the paddock.
And they're trying to keep it gridded up.
I could sure go a Katsu curry right now, to be honest, or an Asahi.
I'm too far away from the water to know what those things mean.
Okay. You know what sushi is, I'm sure.
Yeah, I heard of that. It comes in little plastic tins in the grocery store, right?
It's all steak and potatoes for Devon.
Oh yeah, give me some of that ground beef. Got a couple Canadians on the grid, but they're being led to the green by a New Zealander, an Aussie.
They sure are. Timon Bramley on the pole position, which is the inside of the front row, waiting on the green flag. Field packing up behind, spreading out onto that wide pit straight, narrows through turn one, which might be a concern for the drivers. 45 minutes on the clock. Pit stop somewhere in here as the green flag waves, and they fan out from the grid behind 27 cars, and then Andrew Gilliland leaving his pit stall right now. Bramley through turn one. Singleton still tough to spot, and some contact in the background there.
Yeah, that looks like a couple cars going the wrong way. We've got Mitchell Peak in the dirt. We got Trevor Roy and what might even be a team car. We got Tom Sanders and Ian Giebler literally inside of each other, which is no small irony given Tom Sanders running the Cookie Monster car. He gobbled someone up there, or was gobbled.
Mazdas are sometimes food, but Bramley leads them up the hill onto the back straight. This is where the slipstream of these cars becomes oh so powerful, and Camden Hibbett, Mike Dan are trying to follow along. Singleton's gone back to fourth place there with Ronnie Coates hot on his heels. No need or intent to defend this time around from the leader, Bramley.
Just checking back in on that incident. That's a real disappointment for Giebler. He's struggled a little bit to stay out of the first lap melee, but they were 5 wide. It's kind of hard to do. Meanwhile, though, things are settling down through the field. We're pretty much one by one, all the way back to what I might call Zeus Dalston. He's running in about 21st, 22nd place. So one by one, all the way back, and we're underway.
Sure are. The fields a big snake, especially through the mid-pack at the moment. From Michael Chase back at Rui Coimbra, Michael Coates, Eugenio Pollicci next car in. Joshua Soto looking like he had grip to spare out the final corner. He might be trying to line up Pollicci here somewhere on this lap.
It won't be turn 1, but definitely looking a little racy there.
Won't be turn 2 either, but he's now right to the bumper.
Really kind of a finessey track, this one. You got to maintain the momentum, as always in these Mazdas, but it's particularly apparent here. Tom Athon making a move for 18th place deep in the field, overtaking Odyssey Adams actually for 17th place. Clean move, and all of that momentum coming out of turn number 2 gets them the move before they go into the tricky hairpin of turn number 5 there.
Up the hill, Michael Chase drops back into line.
It's kind of a tricky hairpin corner here where, I'd say the fastest line is to really do the late turn in. But as soon as you do that in these things, you leave the door so wide open, you're just kind of inviting trouble.
Yeah, there's a bit of camber in it, and you've got to be tight on the exit to get the right line into the next corner as well. So it does get a little tricky through there. Hairpins here that occasionally you get tempted to throw a lunge, but you can see being covered off at the moment by Michael Chase with Coates behind.
Must be said that Joel Singleton's kind of still suffering from that internet connection, that Wi-Fi connection, whatever it must be, because that thing is blinking all over the place. He's really going to be hard to race against if that keeps up for the whole race.
That's right. Here says he's got a worse ping than Timon Bramley, and losing legit, and losing somewhere around 10% of the packets or something. But they seem to be in bursts, which is probably making it difficult. Michael Chase has had a little bit of a problem, and you can see Coates has gotten past him. Policci's gotten through, and so's Joshua Soto. So maybe you're going to see him tag some grass here, a lot of it. Big trip through the gravel on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, easy to do. You get back in the throttle a little too early, get the corner a little bit wrong, and all of a sudden you put 2 tires off, it's going to be 4. It just sucks you all the way off.
So there's Pollicci still with Soto behind.
Yeah, I almost want to call it a breakaway for the top 5. Ray Lombardi just did some drift in there through the hairpin corner. But I want to call it a breakaway for the top 5, but it's really just, I think, Ronnie Coates giving some room to Joel Singleton's blinking car as he follows behind.
Zabelski, Fike, Gareth Brocklesby are the cars side by side here. Brocklesby is moving about a little bit as Zabelski gets ahead of Fike. Fike is second in the group here in red and white, not to be confused with the car behind, which is red and white, and the car behind that, which is red and white.
Yeah, Jordy Fike racing hard here.
Green rims for Brocklesby, I think.
Yeah, he stands out. I was going to shout out Jordy Fike, an OG, not just in the league but in the sim as well. A 5-digit iRacer number. That's a real achievement right there.
I'm user ID 157745 off the top of my head. So there are like 500,000s now, and damn runs out wide. That gravel, it's a black hole. You end up with a half a tire in it. You end up with 2 tires in it. You end up losing a lot of speed, and damn drops back behind Joel Singleton and brings Ronnie Coates, Rui Coimbra, that next group of cars, back into the battle.
Back with Fike, he's looking up the outside of Brian Chabelski as they head down into the Atherton corner. takes the outside line. Oh, and it's nearly contact as they get in there. That change in sort of elevation, I think, caught Fike off guard. He's lost some momentum, and they're jostling for position behind him. He's going to get hung out to dry here, and I think they're going to be pushing. They might be 3 wide as they get down to the hairpin corner here.
Yeah, there's 3 lanes, pick and choose. Red and white stripes is pushing red and white stripes as Brocklesby gets a little bit of a bump from Tom Aiton behind, and then another little bit of a bump as they go into the corner. And Brocklesby goes to the lead of the pack because that inside line at the hairpin is banked oh so nice. He cuts across in front of Shapelski. They're still side by side in the middle of the track here. Aiton round
tight out there,
trying to carry some speed. Now he might try to look at Shapelski here. He just looks to try to cover off, and still Fike has to look down the inside to not ram him up the back.
Yeah, it's spicy out there right now. Oh, and Fike gets a little bit wrong, loses the rear end. Easy to get it up on the nose, especially when the track temp suddenly drops by 5 degrees as that cloud goes overhead.
He'll feather the brake pedal, and he might lose another spot here. Trevor Roy goes round the outside. Same livery as his teammate Joel Singleton up in 3rd.
Yeah, Orlando Harrell comes by as well in the purple car there. It's looks like Fike's rear tires are suffering a little bit. Doesn't stop him from putting it down deep into the first turn though.
Goodness me, I think he's gone from sort of 15 leader of that pack down to about 23rd at the moment. So doesn't seem to be much of a tail of the field because Giebler and Gilliland are 2 pretty quick drivers, and then the next car's behind as well. So I think about 10th to the 26th. They're all very similar to each other in pace at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's Giebler and Gilliland just a little further back behind off the pit lane start. Obvious and clear damage to the nose of Giebler's car.
Yeah, he was the victim of the Cookie Monster, and or at least involved with the Cookie Monster. I didn't get a clear look at who was responsible, but either way, the nose of that thing looking a little bit ugly. Really doing a good job of pivoting it around that hairpin though. It's kind of neat to see the basically the drift that's happening in the rear end as they get that thing around there real quick.
I wonder if you know how they drift in Tokyo.
Never been.
I learned just the other week that Pharrell Williams wrote that song. I was like, okay, interesting. I learn new things. But Timon Bramley, he's almost out to a 1-second lead, not quite there. So you wonder what the group of cars behind do. I don't think Joel Singleton could reliably or safely push Camden Hibbert in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think that's an option for sure. Yeah, he's gotten that a little bit wrong.
See or know why, but we know Mike Dam and Ronnie Coates and Rui Coimbra all get to go past. Michael Coates probably won't want to get caught behind that blinking car either.
Yeah, I was going to say, right before he blinked on my end, he kind of clipped the grass on the outside of turn 2 on the entry and just drifted it all the way to the apex. He was catching it the whole way, but catching it is not the same as driving it fast, and that cost him all the momentum in the world up the hill. Move up the inside here, though, on Rui Coimbra. We'll see. Maybe he can make that spot back. Does it pretty cleanly here just by slicing to the apex. That's nicely done. No run here to worry about on the exit. Mitchell Peak in the green car thinks he might have a look on it too, but doesn't have a go this time. Discretion, the better part of valor, you know.
You in the sixth sense with because I think you're seeing people who aren't in the session.
Michael Coates. Michael Coates. I read the wrong name.
I see disconnected races.
Big gap at the front, though.
Yeah, Hibbert's been able to close it down, and then those two are maybe getting away a little bit here. Dam, having gotten to third, might be one of the drivers who could close down a gap like that, though.
Yeah, Dam's always got a little bit of pace, but I mean, Timon really showed his chops around here. 2 seconds the break from first to third right now. Only 1.7 between second and third, though, so that might still be within range of a draft if we get a little bit of help from behind too. With Singleton out of the picture, though, or at least fifth, Soon to be fourth. Singleton's making a move now at the inside, outside of Ronnie Coates. As I say, with Singleton out of the picture, Dan might actually get a push, but Singleton's trying really hard to make sure that he's not out of the picture. Ooh, and he squeezes Roy Coimbra all the way off the track there.
They almost make a little bit of contact, and now Singleton looking down the inside of the hairpin again. Always seems like you get more camber and a much shorter line at the apex there. Such a tight corner. The inside line will be proportionally shorter than the outside line, more so than in a big, wide, sweeping corner. And then you add into that the camber, the extra rotation. The inside line always a place to be in cars like these.
Mm-hmm.
Big dive from Joshua Soto at the first hairpin on Michael Coates. The trick is you've got to get all the way clear before the next one where Coates looks to strike back, but Soto has it covered. Seems like that corner in particular is very slippery, because if you recall, that's where Geordie Fike had to have a save as well, and as he threw the nose in, Coates really wagged the tail as well there.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to get right too. You know, just the timing, especially when you're running a single monitor, it can be really tough to sort of spot the acceleration point, spot when you need to get back to the throttle. Deep in the pack, Odyssey Adams for 17th place is having a look on Tom Aiton, and just as I say it, Odyssey decides to have a big lift into turn number one. I thought we were going to get a real nice move there. He had a good little bit of momentum, but it's not just the top 10 they're fighting for their lives. It's all the way up and down the field here at Spec-5, and this is pro class drivers, but they're actually running behind a few of our open class field. We got, just checking in there, Joel Singleton, of course, still running in fourth, but Jose Gonzalez is in second, running 12th, Greg Mack 13th, Gareth Brocklesby 14th with those prominent green ribbons.
Greg Mack, probably pretty easy to spot in a dark alley there as well. In a little bit of an awkward no man's land here, not up behind Jose Gonzalez, and being caught by a couple tenths last lap by Gareth Brocklesby and the train that he's got going on as well.
Yeah, with all the straights around here, it's everyone's got a train to attach themselves to, except for him.
So you kind of got your lead group of the top 10 bordering on inseparable. You got the group behind Gareth Brocklesby almost inseparable, and then just a couple of other sections of cars ahead. Oh, that's interesting from Greg Mack, as he's going to be one of the first driver to take the pit entry here. Has he got the Okayama effect a little bit?
Yeah, he's made sure not to speed, and that may cost him a little bit. It's I was going to say, though, I mean, it might be a top 2 and then a top 10. Still almost 2.5 seconds between the top 2 and Mike down behind. And Camden this time down the straight, he's going to have a real good push for Timon ahead, I think, if they decide to work together.
Well,
ooh,
right on cue. Big look. Big dive, Cam's inhibit, gets it to that low line in the hairpin, takes the race lead away from Timon Bramley. No patience there.
I was going to say, if I'm in Camden's shoes, I actually think I'd prefer to be ahead, because Timon has so much pace. I almost wouldn't want to isolate him. I like my odds better when I'm in a pack of 5 with him. But I'm probably not quite the driver either. These two guys are, so we'll see how Camden decides to play it. Of course, Camden, a young driver, is he 15 now? And he's he's got more wheel-to-wheel experience than probably most of the field, or a good chunk of the field out here anyways, with his Spec-5 exploits, his MX-5 Cup exploits, that is.
I've heard those who can do, and those who can't teach. I mean, commentate.
Ah, yes, yes.
You're guilty on both counts, mate.
Whew.
As I can.
Well, we're technically professionals. I'm professionals in both fields, so you can't, you know. Anyways, Singleton has managed to find his way around Ronnie Coates, but things are still pretty spicy with that group. I'm not sure that Coates is ready to give it up just yet. And Coates takes that inside line, and if you get this right, the guy that takes the wider line can be in a bit of trouble. And I think Coates is going to have a heck of a run, provided Joel Singleton's car continues to exist down this front or this back straight. So far, so good. Defensive line here from Singleton. This is brave stuff from Coates. Oh, and they really check up behind him too. That's a good move up the inside from Josh Soto too. Takes the spot away from Rui Coimbra behind. A little bit of an opportunity there. Move of opportunity.
Yep, Soto goes to 5th as he was watching what's happening in front. He needs to break in deep to get past Rui Coimbra, but not so deep that he skittles straight into those other drivers in front. So you got to judge that one so carefully, and he's moved to that 5th place this time.
So it looks like the fuel window's probably got about another 8 or 9 laps in it, depending on how much you're able to save. So it will be curious. I am kind of curious because so the last 2 races, the guys have had to deal with the really cold track temperatures, the kind of pain of cold tires in that scenario, really costing them a lot of time. In a few cases, costing them a race. Ooh, and we see ahead of Ronnie there, Joel gets a little wide. But when Joel's wide again. Okay, back anyways to my quality analysis. So anyways, these guys are maybe a little bit gun shy on taking the tires as Joel lifts off and lets Coates by. Might be a little bit gun shy. Oh no!
Slide and a spin and a rejoin from Singleton, who ends up parked in a super awkward place.
Ooh. Helps when you don't exist. But didn't help in that moment. I think that spin was actually caused by the car going, like, disappearing. He disappears and he kind of reappears, and he's almost hooked into the bumper of Coates ahead at that point. And once he's in there, you know, there's almost nothing to be done. There's just contact, and he avoids it. He does the work to avoid it and just spins into the grass. Anyways, what I was trying to get out is these guys might be a little bit gun shy on taking fresh tires, but I do wonder if there's a chance for an undercut with the track temp still hovering right around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, this new setup hasn't seemed quite as amenable to that, but it might still be an opportunity here.
No early stops from the leaders. Camden Hibbert still out front from Bramley. Dam caught them last lap. Might look like he catches them again this lap. He's very close. Dam's had a couple of good laps here to try to reel in the leaders, and takes another 2-3 tenths out in this lap again. Just getting to within that 1 second behind Simon Bramley, and crucially just pulling away from Ronnie Coates in 4th there as well. Oh, that turn 2 might not have been quite what Mike Dam needed.
Yeah, he might get a little bit of help here, though. So Tinnen's right up on Camden's bumper, and I don't know if these two do decide to dice. It might be a 3-way battle sooner than we think. That gap's down to a second. It was north of a second before. Oh, too wide.
Bramley's looking back to the inside, and Hibbert drops back in a second. Mike Dam catches the both of them by a good couple of tenths with that maneuver as well. Top 3 closing in, yet to get to our pit stop phase for the leaders, but it's not all too far away at the moment. Seen a couple of drivers deeper in the field pit strategically, like Trevor Roy, Geordie Fike, Tom Athon, who had a bit of damage, Greg Mack, who maybe felt a train breathing down his neck a little bit. So you've got a top 3 forming here. And can they be quicker than Ronnie Coates in 4th?
The other factor I got to think with the track times too will be how are these tires looking once the 23 minutes that are remaining wind off this clock. Because I could definitely imagine a world where these things all of a sudden start to get a big push on. Despite how loose they look right now.
So Dam again has well and truly got into this fight with the leaders, not letting Bramley and Hibbett get away. And the leader faster than Ronnie Coates last lap as well. This is Dam's perspective. I was about to say he's not really in second gear, is he? But then I remember the new gearbox that these cars have got, and they need it's got Daytona ratios, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does. It's a race car. It lets you use that first gear. Things checking up a little bit between the Coates, Soto, Coimbra kind of group here. It's, I mean, if someone doesn't start pulling this train along, it's going to get feisty here in a minute. With the pit stop coming up, I think these guys might start thinking a little bit less about the fuel save and a little bit more about who gets to the box first.
And with that Okayama effect pit entry here, you actually don't want to follow someone else into pit entry, because if they're slow, nothing you can do about it. You can't Sebastian Vettel around them in the pit entry.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're stuck between the barriers there, potentially behind someone who could be slower than you're willing to attack that pit entry. And there is an awful lot of time to be lost or gained at the pit entry here, far more than almost anywhere else, more than Barcelona.
Yeah, truthfully. While you're watching that battle, I'm watching one of these other quality battles deep in the field. I got Andy Kosick in 18th with Tom Sanders in 19th. And Sanders has a bit of a run here down the front straight. I think he's going to make the move into turn number 1. And we'll see. This is pro class on open class. Kosick breaks a little later, but he misses the apex. Oh, no. I put the pressure on him. He put 2 tires off. He lets Sanders by. And unfortunately for him, that's going to cost him a few points. Of course, blended points fields out here. So where you finish is what matters. And then we compare your points to the rest of the class, but that's a bummer for Kosick, and the fans back home will be pushing him to do get that spot back. Does get a good entry there into the hairpin, the Atwood curve as it's called on the map, but I think he'll need a little bit more than a good entry to make that work. Up ahead, Lee Martin, Zeus Dalston, and Brian Schabelsky are having a bit of a spicy fight into the hairpin.
Schabelsky round the outside. Zeus Dalston's got the inside, becomes the outside at the next corner again. Lee Martin watching what happens here, but not the quickest way through the middle part of the lap like that. Schabelsky holds on to his spot.
Dalston probably deserves a shout out for the beautiful Kimchi power car, which suits Pit Taker.
Camden Hibbett from the front, the pack decides not to go with anyone else in the pit lane, and he's in and was very aggressive on that pit entry. He's practiced it once or twice as well, so that could be key, like what we talked about before.
Yeah, it's it's kind of one of those ones where you can, you wouldn't maybe enter it quite like that in the real world, but you can really get a lot out of it if you do it right.
And he went left side tires, which is interesting, I suppose.
It's been a disaster for the last couple of races. We'll see.
Comes out behind Andy Kosick. So there's a few concerns with this strategy. Potentially the cold tires, potentially a little bit of traffic. Be hoping for all these cars in front of him at the moment to need to pit pronto. Brian Schabelsky, Zeus Dalston, Lee Martin, that group, they're all in together now as well. So there are a few more drivers pitting. Could open up the road a little bit for Camden Hibbett.
Yeah, they'll rejoin just ahead and with Jordy Fike and Tom Athon, who, of course, pitted a little bit earlier, like we said, for some damage and perhaps for some clean air, I think, for Fike. Two of them, though, making pretty decent pace if they're rejoining with those guys. Battle back up at the front, though, is kind of closed up.
Whoa.
We'll see any takers. Oh, we got a few takers for the pit lane and a few late ones at that.
So Bramley reacts to Cam's inhibit. From the next pack, a bunch of other drivers pit as well. Trying to keep an eye on exactly. Ronnie Coates appears. Looks like Rui Coimbra appears, and Eugenio Polici as well in that pit entry. All these guys have got that pit entry nailed.
Mm-hmm. I actually think we got to go back and take a look at Ronnie Coates' entry because he decided really, really late. And I think Soto actually had to take a little bit of evasive action as they were kind of figuring it out in the second to last turn there. Let's see it here. Yeah, so we're on board with Coates, looking forwards. But behind him, he decides pretty late and nearly gets tagged. It's kind of hard to see from that angle, but nearly gets tagged by, I think that's, is that Soto? Soto, yeah, in the other car. It was real close there anyway for a minute.
And Rui Coimbra also got himself into trouble there as well, coming in really, really hot. And Singleton pits, so there's only a couple of cars that haven't pitted left. 17 minutes, basically 10 laps to go in this one.
Yeah, we'll see how these pit stops shake out, but it's looking a little feisty right now. Mike Dam leads Canada, and we'll see how that goes. Camden's too wide on Andy Kosick here.
And Bramley's behind as well, so the early stops worked out at least well enough at the moment.
The left tires too.
For Hibbett, puts Andy Kosick between himself and Bramley. Ronnie Coates still behind them. Mike Dam carrying on in the lead of the race.
And I think if you're Dam, at this point, you're just hoping the overcut gets you maybe some clearer air than these guys are having to deal with back there. They're quickly dispatching everyone, though. Timmons gone around Kosick, and Camden's only got Tom Sanders left ahead.
Couldn't spot if there's any tyres going on or not there for Soto. Odyssey Adams Jr. also pits, leaving with just Mike Dam, Michael Coates, Michael Chase, Ray Lombardi, and Tom Sanders yet to pit up front.
Confirmed no tires for Dam.
Soto.
Sorry, for Soto.
Where's he relative to those? He's fighting even behind Polici. So the undercut's looking pretty mighty here because it looks good for Camden Hibbett. It's looking good for Polici. And staying out late maybe it hurts Soto a tiny bit.
Yeah, that hasn't gone yet. Have we seen a stop from Polici?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, a lap ago, yeah. So yeah, the undercut's definitely panning out for those who are doing it. I'm kind of curious to see if Mike Dam regrets this or not. Logic would say that he does, but Dam leads from Coates, who leads from Chase. And, well, they're getting close to the end of that pit window. Maybe a couple more laps available. Fourth place, Ray Lombardi turning in. Running a gold livery. Beautiful.
No stop yet for Dam. Here's Michael Chase in.
Yeah, maybe getting word that the undercut's working pretty well. And we'll see Chase is only halfway down the pit lane right now as we watch Camden Hibbett and Tim Bramley coming around the final turn. Chase still hasn't come to a stop yet, so those two will be going into the final turn while Chase gets stopped. And he still has to take fuel, and, well, it looks like left side tires is the ticket. Gotta have something. Drops off the jacks. Fuel still going in, though, for Chase. Oh, and this has definitely cost him a few seconds. I'd say maybe 5 seconds on that. Sanders stuck in the middle.
Yeah, Camden Hibbett got past Timon Bramley, not able to. Cost them a little bit of time, and the comparison is Mike Dam, his last lap, 145.5, 145.2, even with getting around Tom Sanders for Camden Hibbett. So looking good. Big dive, big slide from Timon Bramley, but he knew he needed to get it done. He's not racing Tom Sanders for position, and he didn't want to let Camden Hibbett get away.
Yeah, sticking with him. Tom Sanders seems to be sticking with him too, though. Enjoying the draft and deciding to maybe try and get the spot back. He lifts out of it. I was thinking this is going to get a little spicy if the drivers who haven't pit yet decide to race this hard with the leads.
Here comes Mike Dam. How's his pit entry look? It's tight. It's quick.
Yeah, a little conservative. I'd say some of the other guys running a little ragged over the grass might have been a little bit quicker than that.
Michael Coates comes in behind him as well. We're expecting to see probably almost everyone at this phase, but apparently not Ray Lombardi. Saw that gold flash go past, and he'll lead a lap.
Hey, there's points for leading laps, so if you can hang it out there a little bit. I mean, Mike Dam's accumulated a few. That might have been worth his while. Accumulated one, rather.
2 on the track map is Camden Hibbett. Mike Dam's out of the lane. Michael Coates is rolling as well, but around the outside.
Hey, this is a race.
Camden Hibbett with Timon Bramley. Hello.
Oof.
Hibbett gets the inside to turn 2. Bramley follows through as well. So with the rivals held side by side, 2 wide behind him, Hibbett gets a better line, and he goes, I'm going with Timon Bramley. I'm towing him forward into second place. Very deliberate change of line there from Camden Hibbett to pick who he wanted.
Mm-hmm. Timon had a heck of a drift at the apex there, but I got to say that was. I mean, this isn't just the nationalism talking. This is a bit of an impressive drive here from Mike Dam, managing to stretch it and make that still work.
You know what they say, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your nose. Orlando Herald, Ray Lombardi, the 2 drivers yet to stop in this one. Very, very classic Orlando Herald. Maybe not something we've always seen out of Ray Lombardi, but surely 11 minutes 30 to go. He's going to pit in. Here's Herald in purple now these days.
Yeah, Herald's changed things up a little bit. I was thinking to myself, I like the look of it.
I'm sure there's too many left-hand drive MX-5s in Japan these days, but other than that, the kind of thing you'd expect to see buzzing around the racetracks of Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lobby for a trip to Tsukuba next year. Or yeah.
Yep.
Maybe the 1000 circuit. Ray's coming up back on the track now.
Yep, so that's everyone having pitted. 10th for Ray.
It's busy everywhere out there. Looks like a solid top 3 breakaway though. Unless those 3 really decide to start fighting, I think Coates might be a little hard pressed to rejoin him, but I mean he's not that far back. It's what does it look like at this point? Maybe 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just ahead of Rui Coimbra. Coates, you see Joshua Soto with Eugenio Polici behind, so it's fanned out the top 10 just a little bit.
Coates is actually carving him up right now. He took nearly 5/10 out of him last time by, and I don't know if any of the top 3 took tires, but Coates did.
Well, we know Hibbett did. Here comes Bramley with the look for the race lead in this hairpin. Mike Dam sits in 3rd as Hibbett slots back in a 2nd. Exactly what you want to see if you're Ronnie Coates in 4th. Exactly what he was hoping for.
Yeah, Dam had a pretty short stop relative to the rest of the field. Timon, on the other hand, had a very long one. But I wonder if Dam is going to have to do a little fuel saving towards the end here. He'd be our shortest stopper in the top 10 outside of maybe Michael Coates or Eugenio Polici. little separation though between first and second and third now.
Quickest on that lap of this group still was Ronnie Coates in fourth. Mike Dam runs out a little bit wide. There is a ridiculous battle forming in 15th place at the moment with Zeus Darlston, Brian Jabelski, Tom Ekton, Geordie Fike, Tom Sanders, Joel Singleton. They've all been through the lane and they've rejoined here where Darlston's been trying to hold off a couple of the pro drivers behind him.
Yeah, outside of Jose Gonzalez and Odyssey Adams, who are running friendly if they're not a team liveries on, that open class that open class podium is wide open. Second, third, they're all kind of fighting.
Yeah, Gonzalez, Brocklesby, Darlston, the top three for open at the moment. Ronnie Coates has caught the leaders, so all the packs begin to form back up for this run to the end here.
Yeah, 8 minutes to go. It's been action all the way through. I blinked and I missed the last 20 minutes with the way it's been going. And I'm just glued. My eyes are glued to this battle for 15th. Now they've pointed out they are all over each other, and they're all drifting through the hairpins.
Tom Sanders is also the quickest car in this group as well, and Joel Singleton's pretty quick when he exists. So there's some quick guys at the back.
Oh!
Why have I opened my mouth? Tom Sanders goes for a spin.
That was hurtful to say. He, it looked like he was just trying to take a little bit of evasive action, ironically from Geordie Fike, who had to take his own evasive action earlier in the day. Either way, that's put him the wrong way, but he's recovered pretty quickly.
5 laps to go now as these drivers cross the start-finish line. 5 to go for your leaders. Bramley looks like he's going a defensive line here down the back straight this time around, sensing that Camden Hibbert might want to stick the move on. Damn, Coates drop back a little bit, but Bramley's going to hold the inside.
Yeah, Camden tries the over-under, and he'll have a little something for him on the exit, but it's hard to make the move around the outside here.
This is what you want to see if you're 4th, 5th, all of that. Bramley driving some defensive lines through a couple corners in a row. Hibbert forcing him to do as much. Now Bramley just holds his line here, and Hibbert won't have a look at this hairpin as the track starts to go back uphill again.
Dam's right on him, though.
Yep, sure is. Ronnie Coates just back there as well. So a little bit more late race pressure starting to come on the leaders, where Bramley really got the elbows out defensively halfway around the lap that they just completed.
Now we'll have to see. Oh, okay. Yeah, just a little feigned pressure there. Thought we were going to see a late dive. Guess that was the point.
S's here function like a straight, but they kind of dissuade you from getting side by side too early before Atwood Curve, where iRacing have lovingly laser scanned both a landslip and a pile of logs.
Hey, all of the details, not just the convenient ones.
Have you
Good
seen
run
the
here.
detail of the toilets at the new Zandvoort?
No.
Someone's spent weeks getting the perfect details for that. And Bramley, the inside here, only looks like he won't quite be able to close off Camden Hibbert, who's the inside for the left-hander, side by side as the track drops downhill for the race lead. Mike Dam and Ronnie Coates watch on around the outside. Bramley trying to hold the lead, but I think Hibbert's got it here. Does he get a bump from Mike Dam? He does. Dam's going to try to push him to the race lead. Keep the leaders side by side. Now it's almost too wide in the group behind. Camden Hibbert leads.
Little touch as they went through the hairpin that time. Rear bumper to left side door, and Camden holds it. Well raced, but yeah, you're right. This is solidly a top 4. Rui Coimbra starting to get into the picture too.
Dam gave him some help to get Camden Hibbett out in front. There's Joshua Soto, Michael Coates, Eugenio Polici just in the back, a shot as well with Michael Chase. And Hibbett, one car width of defense to the inside of turn 1. The corner that really opens up. Bramley's got a run, and the nose gets chopped off of him towards 2, where it's off camber right in the middle.
No love lost deep in the field between Jordy Fike and Joel Singleton. Those two have just had some contact through the last couple chicanes. Jordy Fike's managed to hold the spot, but we'll see how long that lasts. Anyways, back to the front.
So uphill, picking up speed. Camden Hibbett from Bramley, from Mike Dam, from Ronnie Coates, now part of the battle for the lead in the final laps of Spec-5 World Tour from Okayama. Hibbett still defends all the way to the inside. Bramley's seen maybe you can get around the outside here to get to the inside for the next sequence, because it's what Hibbett did to him, but no traction off the corner with those older tyres, I think. The new ones for Hibbett giving him good traction, keeping him in the race lead.
It's always bravery. How wide can you take that corner there in the infield and still make it to the apex? It's really sketchy down there at Piper Corner.
So still Hibbett from Bramley and Dam and Coates. Coimbra, he's just a couple tenths away from being part of it. 2 laps to go at the end of this lap. Joshua Soto, Michael Coates, Eugenio Polici, maybe a little too far away, but it could be 5 cars oh so easily, as Hibbett will lead another lap here.
They're battling hard in that pack, though. Josh Soto got a little wrong on the way into Redman Corner. That's the first of the 2 hairpins at the back of the track there, and nearly lost the spot to Michael Coates.
Hibbett ran wide at 1. Zeus Dalston still leading his group back here in 15th.
Moment for Timon. Timon's going to lose the spot here to Mike Dam. They were entering 2, and I think Timon just touched the grass on the entry. Yeah, just gets a little bit wide and can't get it quite far enough left.
So Coimbra is part of the battle now as 2nd and 3rd begins the battle. Is Dam going to push Bramley up towards Hibbett? I think that's what they're going to try to do this time on the back straight.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Oh, and a move here from Coates. Takes a big look up the inside. He's going to scare Dam, but he's not going to take the spot away.
Very, very interesting. They know there's not much left in this race at all. They don't want the leader to get away, but they're all fighting for their individual positions here as well. And from enemies to friends very quickly in the space of 1 corner between Bramley and Dam was also interesting to see. Bramley's gotten right up to Hibbett, putting some pressure on him through the braking zone here. No dive to the inside for the right-handed hairpin either. Gets a very neat exit, massive slide from the leader, Hibbett. No traction off that corner, just holds on to the lead, but it'll close in the rest of them as the white flag's about to wave.
Oh no, and we're seeing in the second group, Michael Coates having to take a pit stop, a splash and go for him, taking him out of contention for that back half of the top 10.
Last lap, 1 more tour of Okayama for Hibbett, Bramley, Dam, Coates and Coimbra all up front. You see there was less than 20 seconds on the clock as they started the final lap.
And that's not the police on track. That's the police in Australia coming for Tim Bramley, who's pushing really hard here on the way into Atwood Curve, making a move around the outside of Camden Hibbett. Oh, and it's razor thin between the 2 of them. We'll see who gets the run. Looks like Camden's got it, but there's going to be the draft to contend with here on the second half of the straightaway.
Last time down the back straight here, Hibbett leads them one way, leads them the other. Someone's going to be so brave on the brakes. Hibbett's weaving like a madman. It is the last lap, and he's going to force Bramley to look around the outside, who brakes so deep, tries to squeeze him down to the apex. Has a slide, though. Hibbett comes up, takes the line. Mike Dam now around the outside of Timon Bramley, and he ends up all the way out in the grass. 5 MX-5s in 5 car lengths on the final lap, but they're running out of good places to pass. Hibbett can try to block it every single corner of the way around, and Bramley will struggle to do anything about it. He'll get him side by side in the switchback hairpins here, but Hibbert will just keep it parked up against the apex. Still has a poor run off that hairpin. Bramley will try to demand a car's width to the inside at the penultimate corner. Gets a bad line there, so he can't attack into the final corner. Out of that final corner goes Cams and Hibbert with a run to the line to take the race win as Spec-5 World Tour at Okayama, barely ahead of Timon Bramley, Mike Dam, Ronnie Coates, and Rui Coimbra.
Coming behind him, Josh Soto, followed by Eugenio Polici, and that looks like Michael Chase actually got him at the line. I think that was out of fuel for Eugenio Polici. Sure enough, it was. Ray Lombardi will cross in 9th place with Odyssey Adams and Jose Gonzalez behind. Team orders gone at the end of the race as Jose loses the spot but still secures the open class win. Trevor Roy crosses the line with Garrels Brocklesby not far behind. Zeus Dalston making his first appearance on an open class podium. He'll finish 3rd behind Brocklesby as they get to the line here. Tom Athon, Jordy Fike hit the line. Tom Sanders behind. Greg Mack 4th in open. Andy Cossack coming to the line 5th in open. And that rounds out our top 20. We got Joel Singleton after an impressive qualifying performance, a disappointing finish. Orlando Harrell 6th. Andrew Gilliland coming to the line in 7th or 8th. I'm losing track now. And Tom Aton looking like he's fresh out of fuel coming through the final few corners. A 16th place finish for him was on the cards, but well, when you're wiggling it back and forth trying to get fuel in the pickup, it's going to be hard to hold on to it.
Rearranging itself a little bit on the final lap there, so I wonder if someone didn't pick up a late incident limit violation or something, but no change up front.
Oh,
I can tell.
You know what? Actually, Tom Athon shortcut the track on his final lap. I think he realized he was out of fuel, and so he ran the club circuit, and is going back to the pits now, or going back to the line, trying to make it there. So I'm not sure. Maybe this puts him ahead of Coates. I'll be curious to see how that pans itself out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
all kinds of excitement on the final lap.
I think that's all counted now. This is how it'll continue to display it. No more changes. Camden Hibbert, the winner from Timon Bramley, Mike Dam, Ronnie Coates, and Rui Coimbra. Joshua Soto in 6th ahead of Michael Chase, Eugenio Polici, Ray Lombardi, and Odyssey Adams is the top 10. Jose Gonzalez with an AM class win and I guess a quiet race for him, all things considered there. He's ahead of Trevor Roy, Gareth Brocklesbury, Zeus Dalston, Brian Jabelski, Tom Aton, Jordy Fike, Lee Martin, Tom Sanders, and Greg Mack. He's still giving Tom Aton 16th, huh? And Andy Cossack, Joel Singleton, Ian Giebler, Orlando Harrell, Andrew Gilliland, Michael Goetz, Mitchell Peake, and we actually didn't see Paulo Coimbra.
Yeah, didn't make it onto the grid, so it's a shame for him. Lost Mitchell Peake to the gods of internet.
Okie dokie. Well, I think I'm off in search of our open class winner. And I'll see if I can get Jose Gonzalez. Congratulations, another open class win.
Thank you.
So we saw a lot of the lead. We saw a lot of some of the packs racing in the mid pack. How did your race play out?
Actually, I thought Joel was gonna take them, and he was way quicker. I don't know if he's fun now or what happened, but I was just trying to do my race, try to race clean, not get any incidents, and try to get to the end. There's a lot of competition there tonight.
Maybe one of the tracks with a little less slipstreaming than some others. So some more elbows out kind of moves, less fuel saving.
Yeah. It was. I was gonna try to get to the end no matter what, you know. I was pushing towards the end because a couple of the guys were getting close to me. So I was pushing a little bit, and I made a couple mistakes, but nothing too critical. So it was good.
Well, congratulations, round 4. You pick up an open class win, and we'll see you for more great Spec-5 racing later in the season.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thank you.
Open class winner Jose Gonzalez, and our pro class winner, who was a nail biter, he's with Devin Peters.
Well, Camden, a tough second round for you and then a bounce back at Sebring, and you come here in Okayama and you put the ball on top, get the win.
Yeah, second round at Mosport was definitely a struggle. I know nobody to blame but myself, though. I mean, it was just a mistake checking fuel and dipped the right rear off and went for a ride. But certainly a strong comeback after round 2 with the second place at Sebring, and right there for the win, racing Rui into Sunset, and then coming away with the win. Somehow, I think I kind of stole one away from Bromley tonight. I think he was definitely the class of the field. But I feel like this track definitely prioritizes some racecraft and also some luck. So it was certainly some great racing all throughout the night, though, especially in the last 3 laps.
Yeah, I got to think you're sweating with the amount of pressure he was putting on you there.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't even just Bromley. It was more, you got to check what Mike Dam's doing, because if Mike Dam makes a move on Bromley, that changes your whole play into the corner. So it's these MX-5s are really chess-like races. You gotta play them smart, and if you don't play them smart, you don't end up in victory lane. And I think it definitely adds some added pressure to the situation, more than just having 4 cars on your bumper. You got to worry about the draft, and yeah, it's definitely a unique experience racing these Mazdas.
That was good stuff. Speaking of smarts, it looked like the smart move was taking 2 tires at the pit stop. A bit of a change from the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a risk I felt like I needed to take to be able to compete with Bromley. I don't know who else took 2 tires, if anybody did, but I felt like the tires were not great for about 4 or 5 corners, and then they would start to equal out, and then they got better. And then seeing what the pace was falling off on that first stint, it was down probably half second, I think, on average. So it's just, I think it was the risk that I needed to take to have a shot at being competitive with Bromley at the end there. Definitely something I don't think I'll do next week. I think part of it was this track surface, and also the heat as well. It was really good track temp tonight, so definitely a risk that we took, but ended up paying off in the end.
Well, quality race for you, and a quality finish, and that ought to bump you up a few spots in the points too. Anyone you need to thank for your success tonight?
Yeah, my parents, mom, dad, my grandpa, Byers Automotive, Rainier Construction, Aussie Sales, Autosmarts Radio, and Westerville Automotive, Rainier Construction, Team Spirit Custom Trailers. They've been huge support, not only with some of the sim stuff, but also my real life Spec Miata experience. And it's been a wild last year or so with real life, and starting to take the sim a little bit more seriously, and running some more leagues and stuff like that. But it's been certainly fun last couple months, and couldn't do it without everybody that's helped support me. So thank you to all of you guys.
Pleasure to have you up.
Thank you, guys.
Go our winners from both classes. Round 4 of season 14, a Spec-5 World Tour from Okayama. Next week, my oh my, it's Daytona Road Course. Anytime these cars go there, real or sim, you never know what you're going to see. You never know who might win. It might be the driver who started the last lap in 12th. For all you damn know, that is going to be almost unavoidable, unmissable watching. So join us next week here on HJBC for more Spec-5 World Tour as we head to Daytona Road.